Hey, what's going on out there, everybody? Happy Saturday. I'm so glad to be back here in my bonus room, man cave, chill shelter, um, video game, teen space as well, because I have two teenage children who use this space a lot. But I do have my friend Brian here. What's up, Brian?
How you doing, everybody?
How's that interface over there? You see stuff?
It's
You
fantastic.
see stuff. Good.
You didn't send me the link.
I tried to email it to you.
Gmail?
Whatever the first DS Bright that popped up, so you should check that. Oh yeah, so I have gotten together with, I think this is the second year in a row where I've gotten together with Save the Music, and you can donate to Save the Music. So check the link, especially on this YouTube video feed of this live stream. Um, Basically, you can enter and help contribute to Save the Music, which is, puts funding into schools for the music programs. And in conjunction with that, you will have a chance to win a Gibson SG standard, which is not this one. This one's mine, but thanks to Gibson and Sweetwater and Save the Music and Propeller, those are all the various people involved with helping add funding to music school programs. So check out that link, and you have a chance to win a Gibson SG as well as a 1 hour video lesson with me. And also Brian is got his computer today, and he's checking out all the comments. So if you have any really important comments or important questions, Brian is looking through that as well. And Brian, how are you?
Good.
You feeling good?
Yeah.
You got it? Good. And Instagram, what's up out there? TikTok, even, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Life just keeps going. Brian is daddy, says Maximo. That's funny.
I am a dad.
He is a dad. I'm a dad. He's a dad. Jordan's asking, check, it could be when this live stream's over, there will be a link if it's not there yet. So just look. Anyway, yeah. And also congrats to the last winner, got other giveaways happening and whatnot. What guitars are mounted behind me, says Bob C. Let's see. A Gibson Les Paul from before I worked with Gibson. That was my Les Paul I had probably around 2015 or so. And then in the middle there is an Epiphone, like 335 style hollow body. And then also we've got an older SG. Guitars I don't use as much for decoration. I don't know. Can you guys hear my dogs barking? It's quite distracting.
Thank you, Josh Norco.
Josh Norco, what's up? Thank you, everyone. Any other comments or questions so far, Brian?
Tons of them.
Well, let me know.
You got it.
Let me know one right now. How about?
Right now?
Yeah.
Bro, you friggin' rock.
Hey, bro, I friggin' rock. Andy Collins says, "Can you hear my peacocks?" I cannot. I'm not watching your feed. If I was watching your feed, maybe that would be the case. But no, my dogs are super barky, loud, like super. One's small, so I don't really have to say much more than that. One's a tiny dog, so forget it. And then the other one's more medium size, and he's just skittish. He's scared of stuff, and they get each other riled up. Mark Hermanson, nice to see you in the feed there. I hope you've been well. I think you asked what was the best gig I ever played. Well, before I had this YouTube career, Bob C, I'm in San Diego right now, but I'm in Nashville and San Diego, both. Back and forth.
Andy Collins says he has 7 dogs as well.
7 dogs. I just, man, we had 3 dogs at the peak, and now we're down to 2, and they're both pretty old. And I love them very much, but not when I'm live streaming and they're barking. The coolest gig I ever did. Well, when I was kind of bummed or just really struggling to make a living with music, it wasn't like I was bummed with playing guitar. It was more just the combination of doing music for a living can be very trying on a human psyche and soul. But I did get an opportunity to, I'm just trying to think what year it was. I think it was probably about 2005 or 2006. I got to open up part of a tour in Canada opening for Aerosmith. And so that was really cool because, I was just trying to figure out my way as a musician. And I got a call. We're opening, this singer needs a band for opening for Aerosmith. So yeah, sure. When I'm on the stage and I see Aerosmith, that's when I'll believe it. But that was one of those few times where it actually did happen. You hear, as a musician, there's lots of that, like I'm the next thing, or my album. The classic is like saying that my album's being mastered by blah, 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 who mastered, Dark Side of the Moon or something. Those classic, like, I remember one guy was like, yeah, I'm Dr. Dre's next protege. You just always hear all these different things all the time that you filter, and most of them are BS. But every once in a while, 1 in a million, it's actually a real thing. And so I opened for Aerosmith, and that was really cool. When I first started playing music, and Brian was one of the ones that played it for me too, and Brian's still here, was the 90s jam band thing kind of was right when we were in high school. So that influenced our musical taste and embarrassingly our hat and clothes tastes as well. But Blues Traveler was just a huge one for me during that pinnacle time of picking up an instrument and starting to learn. And so many, many years later, I think it was 2015 or 2016, I got to jam with Blues Traveler and trade licks with John Popper and the whole bit. So that just felt like a full circle moment, wouldn't you say, Brian? Out of full circle moments. So that one's a good one. But I enjoy making videos and helping people learn guitar. I taught thousands of guitar lessons before I ever made a YouTube video. So I have a lot of experience working with different styles of people learning guitar, and lots of beginners, children, adults. It was always exciting when I got like a really good guitar player that just wanted to like learn the modes or learn some music theory or just fill in some gaps. That was always really, really fun for me. But I, mostly taught beginners. Any other questions there, Brian? Hit me with a good one.
What's your favorite song from Britain?
Favorite song from Britain?
It's interesting.
From Britain, specifically. I don't know, probably a 20 or 30 Beatles songs. Our Beatles, I mean, they're British, but there's debate about, like, you have the United Kingdom, you have England, and then you have Britain.
Yeah. So you can't be a U2 song.
Not a U2 song. Not AC/DC. Simple Minds. Are you just naming the Irish bands you know? So that would also mean Average White Band, I think.
Are they?
I think they're Scottish. Of all the weird thing, funk. I'm like 50% Welsh myself. People would never know that.
Well, I couldn't answer that question, by the way, first of all.
Yeah. Okay, give me another. Yeah.
Zeppelin, I might say Floyd, like, oh my gosh.
Right.
Kick-ass tunes from Britain.
Oh, someone's asking about getting bar chords down. Perfect question. Bar chords. I do have a course at martymusic.com on bar chords, and it's all my tips. Electric guitar, a bar chord's easier than an acoustic guitar. You also don't need as much hand pressure the higher up the neck you go, but the frets are closer together. So if you have little chubby little stubs, like some people, I'm not naming names, but maybe it's a little harder if you go too far up. But just somewhere around. Oh, that's a good question, Eddie. Eddie Diaz, I'll remember that question. He's asking, Brian, remember this one, the difference between Tennessee players and California guitar players. Well, one thing is all the California guitar players are now Tennessee guitar players because they moved there. So that's the answer, ultimately. But most of the Tennessee guitar players are not from Tennessee. The ones that I've met. I just jammed with Jared James Nichols, and he is from Wisconsin via Los Angeles, now Tennessee. Guthrie Trapp, I think he's from Georgia originally. So some of them are from the South, but Nashville is like where the amazing people go to cut their teeth in the music industry. And if they're still there, that means they're good enough, which then means that the cream of the crop of all musicians are pretty much there. You've got Los Angeles, you've got New York. Let's just talk about the U.S. Europe's its own thing, like Britain. But, the musicians kind of travel to where their like-minded folks are, and there's work, and they can afford to live there. So a lot of New York musicians I know and familiar with have moved to Denver. I also know some California musicians who have moved to Denver as well. So that's a little pocket that's been created of some really great musicians, especially some East Coast musicians. And then a ton of musicians over the last 5 or 6 years have moved to Tennessee as well. I've been working in Nashville for about 10 years. And it's just, I have amazing resources. There's amazing people. It's all music related. There's just music is the culture there. So, and it's much smaller than LA or little pockets in California. So you can run into all these amazing people all the time, and you can see music, you can see multiple virtuoso performances 7 days a week in Nashville. You can see amazing experience, listen, watch, learn amazing music at all times there. So it's definitely music-wise better than anywhere else, but anyway, let me get back to the bar chords. Just some quick things. The mechanics of a bar chord. You're pressing with your index finger, which is kind of like the capo, So you want to use more of the side of your index finger, not the padded part here, but the side is much harder. Another thing is your left elbow, you want to move in towards your ribs, and it makes your fingers more parallel to the frets. And then another thing is just you can break down some of the mechanics. I'll play a B major bar chord right here. So the elbow's up against the rib cage there. I've got this E major looking shape, and then I'm also barring. That elbow inside helps. Look at my index finger. If my elbow's out, it's more the pad of the finger. As I move my elbow in towards my ribs, it forces the more of the side of the finger right there as well. And so what you can do to practice is, one, the concept, it's always harder to work on your weaknesses, and it's always easier to just noodle around on things you're already good at. So in other words, to get better at bar chords, you have to play them where they don't sound good first. In other words, you don't avoid them, but you just play them where they're kind of crappy at first, and then you're forcing yourself to constantly improve on them. But so one thing you can do is you can take elbow, rib cage, do the bar first, then form the shape. Take your hand, shake it off. Then next time, do the shape first, then the bar. And that's just like deconstructing the muscle memory you're going to need to just eventually go. Brian, hit me with a question or a comment. What?
Jordan wants to know if he donates $10 to Save Music, does that get him an entry?
Jordan, I believe that does, but I don't want to. There's great instructions on there to check out, just so I don't want to give you a 100% confirmation, but I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
Boris the German, which is a great name,
Boris the German.
has a bunch of good advice on hardcore.
Guten Tag. Danke. Danke, Boris. Okay, give me another one.
The classic, which is many people ask,
What's a good beginner guitar? Well, if you're interested, imagine what you're more interested in, electric or acoustic. The olden days, you would like absolutely have to learn on an acoustic first. And if you stick with it, we'll get you your own electric guitar, little Billy. But I think if you close your eyes. No, do it now. All right, Brian, grab their stuff. No, that doesn't work like that yet. Okay, take their Bitcoin, or I don't know. Yeah, in the metaverse we'll be able to do that. Yeah. What was I just saying?
Close your eyes, imagine.
Yes. Close your eyes, imagine. Is there an electric guitar in your hands? Or is there an acoustic guitar in your hands? Are you doing the Dave Matthews Jig dance? Are you playing Your Body is a Wonderland on acoustic? Or are you playing Welcome to the Jungle or something, or Crazy Train? Are you playing Crazy Train? Are you playing AC/DC? Are you playing Country Roads Take Me Home? Are you playing Johnny Cash? Those are things to think about. And whichever one you imagine yourself doing, get that first. And so, there's all these, with the advances actually of machinery, technology, there are some really, really great playing acoustic guitars for around $100, $120. Most of them are competitive in that range now. So there's a lot of times there's not going to be one that's better than the other because they're all competing for your purchase. So that could be anything from like a Yamaha. Orangewood is a very affordable, well-playing guitar because, and I'm not endorsed with them or anything, but that's a good one because they're not in stores, so they cut like a middleman price, so you get a little bit of a discount that way. Epiphone makes great starter electric guitars, like an Epiphone Les Paul. So check for that too. All right, let's do like 2 more questions. I'm enjoying the Q&A, and thanks guys for hanging out. Don't forget, especially when this live stream's over, check for the link, and hopefully you already follow me on Facebook and Instagram because the posts are there for winning. Just check all my stuff. You will see it if you follow me. So thank you. Brian, what do we got?
How do you come up with chord progressions?
How do you come up with chord progressions? Chord progressions typically are like a group from a key that sound good together. And so you start to recognize what patterns go together and which ones you like. And then how can you somehow add your own flavor to that universal thing that already exists? The same chord progressions are in millions of songs. So the best way would be to study the chord progressions of songs you like. And the music theory isn't that complex. You'll see the same repeating patterns and intervals in all the stuff you like. Like, for instance, Brian here likes the Mixolydian scale. Anything that, like the Grateful Dead and Fish, when they go into those Mixolydian jams, he just knows he likes that sound. So I call it the Brian Smith scale, actually, myself. But it's the best one, yeah. So really, it's all, the Beatles played nonstop covers before they wrote amazing songs. So they learned little pieces of progressions that they liked along the way. And then they combined their different influences of things they like. The 1-4-5 is a thing that exists, the key of C major has 7 chords, and the 7th chord of those 7 chords is really never used in mainstream music. So that's 6 chords in a family. Songs do change keys, but you're basically going and visiting another family when you change keys. It's still those same relationships, but it just changes to a different, what would be called like a tonal center or a root. But so C major has a C chord, a D minor chord, an E minor chord, an F major chord, a G chord, an A minor chord, and then that 7th chord no one uses sounds like this. So millions of songs, but we can go. Yeah.
I just want to say this question.
Yeah.
Mullen asks, how do you make solos sound less pentatonic-y?
How do you make them sound less pentatonic-y? I think the real question is just like, how can you get the pentatonic to sound more musical? And one thing you could do is take little pieces of vocal melodies, because all we're trying to do is get as close as we can to that like human vocal melody feeling on our instrument. So you can take pentatonics, but try and imitate. I mean, the perfect example I did. You're going to sound less pentatonic-y when you slide and bend and have good vibrato too. Or you can watch Rick Beato's 1-minute tips. He definitely is not sounding pentatonic-y. Anyway, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out for a while. Any pressing issues over there, Brian, or pressing comments that people need to know about? All right, yeah, we can just pick this up right next week, folks. No problem. All right, well, thanks again, and also thanks anyone that's going to contribute to Save the Music. We all should appreciate that. And plus, you'll have a chance to win an SG and a 1-hour lesson with me. Thanks again, guys. See you soon. Thanks, Brian. Thank you, Brian.